and welcome to the NewsHour Agenda. Madhavdas. The skeletons are tumbling in the cash for query probe linked to Mahua Moitra. TMC MP is set to appear before the Lok Sabha Ethics Committee at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Ahead of her deposition before the panel, concerns over national security have once again come to the fore. Times Now has learned that the IT Ministry has sent its report to the ethics panel ahead of Moitra's deposition, where the ministry has confirmed Mahua's Lok Sabha login was used from Dubai. Not just once or twice, viewers. Mahua's login was used at least 49 times from Dubai, as per the IT Ministry. Remember, Mahua has already admitted in various media interactions that the CEO of the Hiranandani Group, Darshan Hiranandani, had her login, and it was his assistant who used her Lok Sabha account. It does not end there. Times has also heard that Mahua Moitra has made 14 unaccounted foreign trips. TMC MP Mahua Moitra has written to the Lok Sabha Ethics Committee registering her protest as she sought a later date to appear before the panel. She claims this is in stark contrast to the treatment given by the same panel to BJP MP Ramesh Vidhuri, who she says wasn't even summoned again after he sought more time to appear before the committee. She also says the parliamentary committee does not have a criminal jurisdiction and has no mandate to probe alleged criminality, and that power only lies with law enforcement agencies. However, the political fight over the cash for query row refuses to die down. The BJP has demanded Mahua Moitra's resignation, claiming that she has insulted the parliament. On the other hand, the opposition remains ambivalent on this issue.
Shocking. If her credentials have been used some 49-50 times outside India, then it shows that there is an angle of a foreign involvement, which is not correct. Now, if she herself is breaking the rules, then she has to be answerable to the Ethics Committee.
Mahua Moitra, tomorrow there is a meeting of Ethics Committee. What do you want to say on that?
I think anybody who will ask questions of Adani will be shamed, there'll be reputations that will be assassinated. Forget about everything else. There are very serious allegations, very serious charges, a very serious probe that needs to happen on Adani. Why is that not happening? Forget about everything.
इससे ही तो स्पष्ट होता है एक लीडर एक भारत का नागरिक इतना बार विदेश जाने का क्या बात है प्रभावित होकर ही संसद का अपमान किया महुआ मोइत्रा का जो अपराध वो सामने आ गया जनता का और इसलिए तृणमूल कांग्रेस उनका अपना पार्टी भी उनसे सारे नाता इस विषय से तोड़ दिया महुआ मोइत्रा को संसद पद से त्यागपत्र दे देना चाहिए
As for her stand that how does the affidavit lead to the press before the panel should also be probed as to there should not be any conspiracy angle to defame her. It's a serious matter, but then she'll have a lot of things to explain as to who used her login ID password, why it was used, and for what it was used.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Let's take this across to our guest. Joining us is Tuin Sira, national spokesperson of the BJP. Gargi Nandi Roy is political analyst. Joining us, Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, also with us. Joining us also is Tausif Ahmed Khan, political analyst, as is Dr. Suman Siraman, political analyst. Let me start with you first, Tausif. First and foremost, what explains the 49 Dubai logins that the IT Ministry has told the ethics panel? This is something that Times Now has learned. We've been reporting on this. And clearly, of course, 49 logins is actually eerily close to the number of questions that she reportedly asked, which were in fact either in pro Hiranandani or against the Adani Group. What do you make of this?
You see, whether it is a crime, whether it is not permissible to log into the system from outside country is the first question that has to be clarified by the ethics committee, whether it is not permissible at all. Secondly, if it is not permissible, then why NIC has not disabled that option, disallowing any member of parliament or any person authorized by member of parliament to log in from outside the country. Thirdly, whether there are rules to this effect and whether trainings have been conducted, whether the members of parliament have been given instructions on this. If all of this is answered, then only ethics committee will go and decide whether there is any violation, so long the login attempts are concerned. Now you have said that so many times the login have been attempted. That does not mean that with each login one question is entered. It may not necessarily be the case. Maybe, in order to enter one question, one person has to maybe log in more than one time. So that's purely that's something which Mahua Moitra herself has to depose. That's a matter of fact that she only can present her side of the story to the committee. Now, the question really with Mahua Moitra is that Mahua Moitra and the charge of corruption against Adani is inseparable. If any time an attempt is made to shut Mahua Moitra down, then that is also an attempt to shut all the questions being raised against Adani. Therefore,
what you're saying is that if I'm fighting corruption, then I cannot be corrupt.
Adani
can you prima facie make an assumption like that?
No,
just because somebody is fighting corruption, you can say you can say that the government may be trying to strong arm her, etc.
But in one direction.
Just to say that because she is fighting the Adanis, that means that she is above board.
Precisely, that is the point. That government is trying to strong arm her, government is trying to twist her. If all the allegations that she has made against Adani is
May I ask you one simple question?
Wheels of justice does not run in only one direction.
We'll get into all these specifics in just a minute. Let me ask you. Let me start off with these 49 logins.
The people of India also want to know whether the allegations of corruption against Adani has been
certainly, and at the appropriate forum it can be probed. There is no issue on that count. Tausif, I am asking you a simple question. You said that is this something criminal in logging abroad? Now, what has Mahua Moitra in paragraph 7 of her letter today to the Ethics Committee chairman? She says there's a question of whether Ethics Committee is the appropriate forum to examine allegations of alleged criminality. I wish to respectfully remind you that parliamentary committees do not have criminal jurisdiction and have no mandate to investigate alleged criminality. This can only be done by law enforcement agencies. Now, point I'm making over here is this. Even Mahua Moitra is not saying that there is something criminal. The entire question, Tausif, is whether it was ethical to hand over the login ID to somebody and log in from outside of the country. It's the Ethics Committee end of the day.
No, the supposed statement or the affidavit by Hiranandani, if the Ethics Committee is going to rely on that, then the Ethics Committee is going to invoke one of the provision of statute, which is used in a criminal court. Criminal court relies on those statute and then takes cognizance of it, takes it as an evidence and acts on it. So there are lots of questions involved. Whether Ethics Committee at all has jurisdiction to investigate into a criminal into an allegation which is criminal of nature, which is serious and which requires to be investigated by a criminal investigative agency, and which requires the accused to get a chance to cross-examine. If the committee is going to rely on certain materials,
if the committee finds something of that nature, it can always refer it to an investigating agency. Why are we putting the cart before the horse is what many will say. Anyway, many hands going up. Gargi Nandi Roy wanted to interrupt you. Gargi Nandi Roy wanted to respond to you rather. Gargi Nandi Roy would like to respond to this argument of Tausif. He says, if it's criminal in nature, how can the Ethics Committee then probe it?
Yes, Tausif, let me come. My name is Tekken here. See, Madhav, Tausif is forgetting that for a parliamentarian's login ID, the parliamentarian himself or herself and 2 aides who are registered, they only can log in. So that's the rule. Tausif, what are you talking? She as an MP, she is member of many standing committees. So if her ID is compromised,
she can't share it with anyone is the rule, by the way. She can't share it with anyone is also the rule.
The country.
As per the rules of Parliament.
Yeah, you can't share. There are only two, what I said, there are 2 people who has to be registered. So it cannot be shared with any outsider. And see, she is a member of the standing committee. So obviously the security of the country is endangered. So Tausif, your logic, this logic really falls flat. And Tausif, she has herself accepted, she has not denied any charges. She has accepted that she has got gifts from Hiranandani. She has accepted that she gave her login ID to Hiranandani. So there is even nothing to prove. And if you see all the precedents in the past, see if you 2005, 11 MPs were expelled just for cash query when there was the sting operation by Cobra Post, 10 from Lok Sabha and 1 from Rajya Sabha. And back in 1951, Madhav H.G. Mudgal from the Provisional Parliament, he was forced to resign for same cash for query. But those people did not give in any login ID. So her crime is much more than what they had done. So logically she has to be expelled or she has to resign, and at this moment she has been summoned by the ethics committee. She cannot give condition to the ethics committee that what they will do, they have to call Darshan Hiranandani, there have to be face to face. She cannot give conditions at this time. And see, the party also has distance for herself for the same reason. They are also understanding that the security of the country has been endangered. And maybe one more thing, I think, Mahto, why TMC has also distanced from Mahua Moitra, because in TMC for all corruption cases, if you see whether it is the ration distribution scam or jobs, sale of jobs, always it is the 75% goes upwards to the upper and 25% to the person concerned. But in Mahua Moitra's case, she got all the benefits herself, her travels, her gifts. So she didn't give anything to the party also. And secondly, they are also realizing that the country's security is endangered. TMC as a party cannot support that. That's why they have just left on her to prove her case.
Okay, I don't know what basis you're saying this.
Tell me,
I certainly haven't come across anything to
rescue her. Why? That is the reason.
Okay, that's your opinion, and let me put it on record. That's your opinion specifically. I don't have anything to back up that claim that Gargi Nandi Roy is making on that 75-25 point. But I will ask you a question on the basis of what Gargi Nandi Roy has said to Tehseen. Tehseen, the fact is that today you have a situation where the party is not backing her up.
The party is realizing that endangering.
Okay, you may have sources, ma'am. My sources have not told me anything of the sort.
My claim.
Let me continue the debate.
Tehseen told that publicly. It's in public.
Yeah, please allow me now to intervene. Tehseen, the point is that even a party is not backing her up. When Mahua appears before the panel tomorrow, there are 3 reports that she's going to be very clearly asked with. The report coming from the MEA, which has confirmed the affidavit was genuine. She had questioned the affidavit before. The report from the IT committee, which has come out and said that the login ID was accessed 49 times from abroad, which you yourself have admitted on the show earlier that it is a violation. And there's also the entire aspect of her having traveled abroad, and those are 14 unaccounted trips. When members of parliament use their diplomatic passport, they are supposed to register that with the speaker's office. In Mahua's case, that was not even done. So there are questions, and there are questions that Mahua will have to face.
So let's address each of these, Madhav, independently. First, let's go to the question of the said affidavit. I don't think Mahua questioned the affidavit. She said that it was obviously, her version was Mr. Hiranandani, the submissive.
No, she denied it in toto, sir. You want me to read out what she said?
She said that in any case, it doesn't matter because now this affidavit is in public domain.
It's a joke. The draft of this letter was sent to PMO and he was forced to sign it. There's a lot more that she said, but this is the gist of what she said.
Yeah, so she said it. She said it's done under duress. That's fine, and it's done, and it's an MEA says come to the council.
She also questioned the fact that there is no stamp, seal, etc. Anyway, that's a question that she has raised, which today stands cleared. Yeah.
No. But this affidavit, she's always accepted that this affidavit exists. Now the stamp and all is technical. But let's go by this affidavit. I'm in fact playing the devil's advocate. I'm saying this affidavit is genuine. So by the same affidavit that today BJP considers kosher, it says is absolutely clean. Now, the same affidavit doesn't speak about the 2 crore rupees, which is the most serious charge on Mahua Moitra. Does Hiranandani say submissive Hiranandani gave her 2 crore rupees? No, it doesn't say it. The same affidavit. What does Hiranandani say? And I've read this affidavit in detail. Expensive gift. What is expensive gift? For a simple man like me, Bata shoes is expensive. For somebody like Tuhin, who's a high-flying person, maybe Louis Vuitton or something that's normal. So he's not specified what he's given. Has he come to the committee and given? Shouldn't he come and say exactly what he's given? All of this is atkale lagawing. None of this is put in the affidavit. That's point number 1. Now, point number 2, let's come to the next part about it. There's 14 trips abroad. So she's a member of parliament. She's gone abroad. She didn't want protocol. She didn't want somebody. She didn't want somebody from MEA to come and receive her. So she didn't inform. Has she gone illegally abroad? How is it not a part of the system? When you travel abroad, everything is recorded by the MEA. That is not an unauthorized trip. She's just not informed the speaker for protocol abroad. Now let's come to the most pertinent part, where I concede to the point you've made. Look, Mahua should not have given her login ID. No two ways about it. You cannot not get away by saying I would OSDs have it, PS have it, PAs have it, because it's not the same as somebody abroad having it. That is different because the system can ultimately be hacked. But the fact is, she rightly puts in the email, this committee has no criminal jurisprudence. This may perhaps border on criminality. It isn't actually criminal. There is no rule that stops somebody from sharing the IDs.
Is it not unethical, Tehseen?
I think it is. I wouldn't give it.
So why can't the ethics committee examine it then?
That's true. That's true. But there's no criminality in that.
That's for the committee to decide. We are not getting into the criminality at all right now. If the ethics committee in its wisdom feels there is some criminality and they want to refer the matter to some agency which is equipped to deal with the matter, they can do so in their wisdom. And even that agency does not even have to probe it if they don't find any merit.
Right.
But the point we're making over here is there is a constitutional proceeding, there's a parliamentary proceeding as far as this particular aspect is concerned.
That's true, but true, and that I completely concede to. So she shouldn't have given it to him. She should have just asked him, send your questions and I will ask them. There's nothing wrong in asking people for questions. That I don't think is wrong. She shouldn't have given the access.
The problem here, Tehseen, is that she has accepted gifts. And, I never thought I'd see the day when you are saying that Bata chappals are a luxury good, for somebody who have seen very, very fancy watches, etc. But nevertheless, my question is this, that a bribe does not necessarily constitute only cash. Legally speaking, a bribe can constitute an expensive gift as well. And let me bring in,
No, just one line on that. You're absolutely right on that. Bribe can constitute can constitute an expensive gift. Forget an expensive gift. 1 rupee can be a bribe. The question is, does Hiranandani confess it's a bribe? What Hiranandani says, I've given her some gifts. He's not saying it's in lieu for the questions. Where is the proof?
Okay, let me bring in now the BJP.
If anything Mahua is guilty of, if anything, Mahua, I'll just give one line, and it's on a lighter note, and I've told this to Mahua, so I'm saying this publicly because I've told this to her. If anything Mahua is guilty of, it's of having very bad choice in friends, because your ex-boyfriend to throw you under the bus when, according to him, she was doing something illegal all these years, not go to the court then and now hang around with Nishikant Dubey and throw her under the bus. I think that Mahua is guilty of for having bad choices.
Very bad choice in friends and associates, and perhaps very, very expensive choices when it comes to luxury goods. I'll just leave it there, but let me take this question across to Tuhin Sinha. Tuhin Sinha, the question that Mahua has written in her letter, which she has addressed today to the Parliament Committee chairperson, she says that she wants Jay Dehadrai and Darshan Hiranandani to be cross-examined by her in keeping with the principles of natural justice. Is that something that the BJP is willing to concede?
Well, good evening, Madhav. Good evening, everybody. The Parliamentary Ethics Committee goes by the, please don't intervene, Tehseen, I know you are lamenting over her choice of friends.
Nobody's intervening. I think there must be some audio problem. Nobody's intervening. Go ahead.
So, Madhav, it clearly depends upon the existing rules under which the Ethics Committee operates. If there is a provision for her to cross-examine, that would be provided. But right now, the onus is on her to entirely answer all the charges which are coming up. And mind you, every new information that is coming up basically reiterates that every new information that is coming up reiterates that what we know till now is only the tip of the iceberg. It is a much graver issue concerning national security. And even after the charges have come out, she has been blatantly lying through her interviews. What did she say 3 or 4 days ago in 2 interviews? She said that only the secretarial staff of Hiranandani had access to her login credentials because of logistical issues. But in his affidavit, Darshan Hiranandani has clearly mentioned that he had logged in personally. So does she imply that Darshan Hiranandani was operating as her secretary? So I think there are a lot of anomalies, and it's about time she clearly, unconditionally presents herself to the Ethics Committee and answers all of these without delay. Now, when it comes to bribery, whether it is a rupee or whether it is a Louis Vuitton bag worth 2.9 lakhs, that really doesn't matter, which anyway is twice her salary. And also the conflict of interest is very clearly evident. 49 of the questions, 50 of the questions that she asked very clearly tantamounted to preserving the business interest of Hiranandani. So I think there are very grave issues over here, and what we know till now is only the tip of the iceberg.
Okay, let me bring in Suman Siraman on that. Suman Siraman, what we know today is just a tip of the iceberg. Let the Parliamentary Ethics Committee, examine this entire matter. But at the moment, at least, judging by what these various departments of the government have told the ethics panel, it certainly appears to be not looking very good for Mahua Moitra, at least judging by what's before us.
Okay. Madhav, I'd like a minute or so to make my points. The first point really is, none of us at this point know what the rules are for access of the parliamentary portal. Now, this whole argument that two people and they should be registered, in fact, if you go and look at the parliamentary portal, it says specifically there is a separate access for PAs and PSs and all of them. So, we do not know whether it is an offense to share the ID password. Second, what does the login access give you access to? Does it give you access to any confidential information that is outside the purview? In fact, these questions are all RTI-able. So these questions clearly cannot be confidential because anybody can file an RTI, and Mahua herself mentioned that. So first, we need to know the answers to two questions. One, this whole issue that national security is compromised, we will know the answer only if we know what the login access gives people access to. If it just gives you access to posting questions, then clearly it is not a matter of national security. We need to know that. Second, obviously, what have other MPs done? Is it the norm to share IDs, passwords? We don't know. So this is another point. But let's come to the facts of the case.
No, let's go point by point. Let's go point by point. Let's go point by point. Let's go as far as the login ID is concerned.
Yeah.
Sir, if a person is security cleared and if a person has access to certain information, what prevents a hacker or somebody who's not authorized from actually accessing other parts of the website?
No, what information?
That's how hacking works.
No, what information?
Why do we have passwords otherwise?
I'm
if everything is open source, everything is RTI-able, then any citizen should be able to access the
security is
website.
Compromised. No, Madhav, my question is, what is the element there? What are the areas where a person is allowed to access? What is it that is outside or should be hidden from the public domain? You are not answering that fundamental question.
The simple point is the entire parliament of the country. Are you not exposing the entire parliament of the country's website open to some kind of a cyber attack by giving a non-security cleared person access to that website? It's a very simple question, Suman Siraman, which in today's day of various hackings and attacks and snoopings, everyone should be concerned about.
Is it the budget?
It's not. It should be a bipartisan concern.
What? Entire parliament means what, Madhav?
Sir, the Lok Sabha website, she's a member.
Sorry, maybe
this is. Can I come in for a minute?
Problem with my comprehension. But when you say entire parliament means what? What secret information is on that portal which can be accessed only by parliamentarians but not by others?
Sir, it is subject to misinterpretation. It is subject to any number of things that could happen. All right, I'm not going to get into this debate. I want Tuhin to respond to you. Tuhin Sinha. Suman Siraman knows what's the big deal. What's the big deal if you share your login ID and password of parliament of Lok Sabha?
I am amazed at
my question is very
Madhav, I am amazed at the way Suman Siraman ji is obfuscating the entire issue. It's
Suman, you asked a question. Now listen to his response. I'll allow you a rebuttal as well. Listen to his response, please.
It is not.
Suman, calm down. You asked a question. Listen to the response. You asked a question. I've allowed that question. Now let the BJP respond to you.
Suman ji,
you quoted me.
Suman ji, don't try to obfuscate the issue over here. You asked a simple question. Let me answer that. No, Suman ji, you're trying to obfuscate the entire issue. You said what is the confidential information? Mahua Moitra has every right to log in from foreign, provided she is the one logging in. If she is sitting over here and somebody else operates from abroad, that is certainly a problem, because that gives rise to another question. Is Darshan Hiranandani the only person, or are there multiple people who have similarly logged in from foreign land?
So
that raises another question. Is Darshan Hiranandani the only person who had access to her login credentials, or are there more people?
Gentlemen, please, let's one by one. There's no point in having a debate like this. Let's not have a shouting match. Let Tuhin complete his point and then you can respond to him. Tuhin.
Put an IP lock.
Madhav.
No, Madhav,
I'm coming to each of you, gentlemen, please.
Point.
Yeah.
I don't know why they are not able to understand. I'm making a simple point. If Mahua Moitra had been logging in herself, she can do it from any part of the world. But if somebody else is doing it, then obviously that raises some more questions. Is Darshan Hiranandani the only person abroad who was doing it?
Sumansi Raman, do you know that for these 49 times it was Mahua who accessed the account from abroad? Do you know for a fact that it was her?
No, Madhav, I'd like to come in.
Sumansi Raman, question for Sumansi Raman, please.
Tell me, you're talking about some. Okay, you're talking as if the budget papers were accessed before the budget. What was it that was accessed?
What if they can be tomorrow?
What national security issue? For everything you say, national security has been compromised. Now tell me, Mahua Moitra, the person who she gave this, actually accessed these things which should not be seen by any individual except the parliamentarian. Please tell me that.
No, so let the committee probe
I'm not
that.
able to understand.
Let the committee probe that. Without a probe, how will you know?
Stand corrected.
Sumansi Raman, how will you know without the ethics committee probing that? How will you know that?
No, Madhav,
how will you know that?
Are telling me that
First of all, sir, you are giving your password to a corporate who may, for its own corporate interest, misuse your login ID password. The accusation is already that policy decisions have been questioned by this particular corporate to further their own corporate interest. Is that what a parliament should be? Just a group of people who are furthering corporate interests? And when it's happening in such a blatant manner, rather than actually calling out that question, you are actually defending it, Sumansi Raman. What is this? Is it for the first time that ethics committee is probing something? Or is it for the first time that members of parliament are being probed for the questions they've asked? When there is a precedent of members having been, action being taken on them for having worked at certain vested interests, why are you going on defending that line, sir? I'm unable to understand that today. It's not about any political party. It's about the ethics of a member of parliament that we expect as citizens for our democratic representatives.
You are saying, Arey yaar, you're not letting me talk at all.
No, because you are not making any sense today, Sumansi Raman. When there is an alleged violation of a member of parliament as far as the propriety aspect is concerned, as far as ethics is concerned, that is a serious matter of national concern.
Tell me how national security has been compromised.
Okay, Gargi Nandi Roy, let me see. Clearly, I am not able to convince you. Gargi Nandi Roy, would you like to explain to Sumansi Raman? Sumansi Raman doesn't understand how national security is compromised.
Sumansi, my name is Tekken. Yeah, I was.
This is how national security has been compromised.
Sumanji, that is for the ethics committee and others to find out. But a rule is a rule. What is ethical and what is not for a parliamentarian. And overall, do you know, Mr. Sumanji, the hypocrisy of this kind of parliamentarians are shocking. People like Mahua Moitra, the politics they do is the socialist politics of Mati Manush, and they're again business enterprise. They threw away Tata from West Bengal, but in their personal life, they want the maximum amount of capitalist pleasure, and they get sponsored by capitalists and corporate interests, and in the parliament, they serve the corporate interest. The question regarding Paradeep Port, Sumanji, see the questions, wherever Mr. Hiranandani had interest, she raised question on the MOU between Adani, GAIL and Indian Oil Corporation about the Paradeep Port. And what happened? Hiranandani won the natural and gas pipeline at Paradeep, won the bid for the natural and gas pipeline at Paradeep. So every question there was some link to Hiranandani. Is a parliamentarian supposed to do that? What is the job of a parliamentarian?
And what is more shocking is that when asked whether she received gifts, she said, yes, I received gifts, she is my friend. Did you ask questions? Yes, I asked questions, he is my friend. What kind of behavior and conduct is this for an MP, Sumansi Raman?
12 lakhs back, crocodile sting back.
No, Madhav, I think you're simply short of fact. You are not able to say how
the one who short of facts is only you, sir. I've read a series of facts of what three ministries have told her. None of them appear to be complimentary to Mahua Moitra. I don't know where you are seeing that this is completely, absolutely correct behavior on part of Mahua Moitra. But anyway, since I'm not able to convince you, let me in fact get Tehseen Poonawalla. None of the panelists in fact have been able to reason with you. But Tehseen Poonawalla wants to make a fact. I'm going to quickly get a response from Tehseen and end this debate. Tehseen, is this a national security violation or a threat, at least?
Not a violation because nothing happened, but it is a national security threat, no doubt about it. And I'll explain to Suman why it is a threat. It's not about Mahua because the rules don't exist. I'll explain to you. Because the rules don't exist, it's not about Mahua, it's about anybody. You see, if she would have just taken those questions, that's fine. By giving her login ID, Hiranandani could have given it to his secretary, could have given it to somebody else, and then your system can be bugged with a spyware. Now let's assume an email goes from Mahua's ID to the Honorable Speaker. The Honorable Speaker then writes to the Honorable Prime Minister another email on some other topic. Your system gets bugged. So that could be a potential threat. However, that's not happened. I completely concede to you. So what Parliament should do out of this positively rather than going after her is frame rules. I agree with you, Suman.
These firewalls exist for the server.
But these firewalls, look at the technology today.
I don't know whether you're living under the rock, Suman Raman, but the best of security systems have been breached time and again. It's time and again that government security systems, which should have the best of security, not just in this country, but globally, have been breached. The question is whether you're allowing for that person who's a threat or the hacker to get that much closer to the system. That's the only question over here at the moment. I'll have to leave it there, ladies and gentlemen. Completely out of time. All eyes will be at 11 o'clock tomorrow when the Ethics Committee will examine Mahua Moitra. What will she say before the committee when she appears? Will she be able to give a convincing set of replies? Nobody is going to second guess the proceeding because anything can happen in such a proceeding. But at the end of the day, what transpires and the questions that are being raised are certainly something that are of great national and public concern in a democracy like ours. We'll have to leave it there. Tuin Sira, Gargi Nandi Roy, Tehseen Poonawala, Tausif Ahmed Khan and Suman Raman, I'd like to thank you for joining us. In fact, Tehseen and Tuin will continue with us for debate number 2 on the NewsHour Agenda.